This episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast is brought to you in part by Xero. Xero is a powerful cloud accounting software that improves efficiencies across your practice. With all client data stored on a single unified ledger, you and your clients can easily access and collaborate on the same set of books. Xero's advisor tools and automation solutions reduce time-consuming manual tasks and put data entry on autopilot. Work faster and more efficiently than ever before with Xero. Visit xero.com/accounting insiders to learn more. Hey, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast. My name is Gary Dehart. I am the publisher of Insightful Accountant and Tax Practice News and the host of Accounting Insiders. Today, we've got a return guest. I think this might be, is this number three, maybe?
Number three, I think. Yeah, it's great to be back.
Yeah, it's got Ben Richmond, who is the country manager, U.S. He's got that Southern accent, different Southern than mine, but resides out in the Denver area, but hails, I should know this, is it Australia or New Zealand?
New Zealand. Nearly got it there, but yeah, very close to each other.
Somewhere in there, right? And
yeah.
I guess you probably could have said, well, it's neither. It's some other little small island out there that I wouldn't know. But before I get totally distracted and sidetracked with something that's not relevant to what we're talking about today, let me just dive in. So we've got a few things on the list that we wanted to cover, and it's really looking at Xero. We really want to talk about, just have you share with our audience, some specific things about Xero. So we're going to look at, product updates. We're going to look at people, talk about XeroCon, which is coming up. And then really the, why should accounting pros be looking at Xero? And then, maybe some of the top features. So I threw a whole lot at you right there on a Friday afternoon when you just got back from a trip. So I'll list them back out just one at a time, and we'll discuss. So, but again, welcome. Thanks for taking a few minutes out and here before the weekend. So product updates. What is going on from a Xero product update standpoint?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think we talked a little bit in the last time, but there's been some, a lot of focus on our US product. So, Xero's been in the US now for 12 years. In the last 7 years, we've really focused on, there's a lot of innovation in our product that partners all around the world love, but there's a lot of specific parts of the product that are really important to get right for the US. And so there's been lots of exciting updates. We've launched automated sales tax, fully automated sales tax into our business edition SKUs, powered by our partnership with Avalara. So from the customer experience, you're in Xero, you can set up when you're doing an invoice, those automatic sales tax rates are going to come up. And as we know, sales tax is incredibly complex, from state and county and federal. So that's all in there now. We've gone into a soft launch. We've got lots of customers that are using it, and a really great response so far. So what that's going to allow customers to do is make managing sales tax easier, and all the compliance that comes with that. It also helps. It gives an even greater opportunity for our accounting and bookkeeping partners that are doing CAS type services for clients, where they may be doing the invoicing work for them. Makes it easy for them to provide that service and take on doing the sales tax for their clients, because no one really ever enjoys doing that when you're a small business owner. So it's doing those automatic tax calcs, and it's also has a whole lot of new specific sales tax reporting that's in there as well, all best of breed, with our great partnership with the team at Avalara. So that's all live and in the product. So if you haven't had a chance, jump in, test it out, have a play. The other one is, and this sort of realms up around, we're really focusing on sort of two elements when we think about the product, which is how do we make Xero really good for write-up. So there are elements of Xero, our ledger and our cash book, and our ledger and cash book have been two products that have been there for 7 years, that our partners have used. The ledger's retails at 3. And that's great for end-of-year clients. That's great for clients that may be small, like an interco, let's say a company structure where you have a holding trust and it's only one transaction a month. You can put them on the ledger. The cash book has bank feeds on top of that. So it's great for messy tax clients that you just want to get a bank feed, get the automatic coding rule. So that sort of best for write-up is a big focus for us, which is helping, our AB partners have a consistent GL platform for their firm. And even if the client's on something else off-site or is doing something horrendously manual that you can't get them off, you've still got a consistent platform internally. You can still do your write-up really efficiently. And hopefully one day they come to you and say, can we go to the cloud? And you can just upgrade them to one of our business edition products. And that's where we're putting things like the sales tax. And so under that sort of what we call best for CAS, and so client advisory services, that's a massive focus for us and our partners, because it goes right to the core of Xero's mission, which is, we're all about helping small business thrive. We want to be the most trusted and insightful platform for small business. And you hear the word isn't biggest there, it's the most trusted and insightful. And we believe the accountants and bookkeepers are critical to that because it's the technology with them that unlocks the true great advisory for small business. And so that's why CAS is such a big focus for us. And so the product launches we're focusing on is really, sales tax, and I'll come shortly onto inventory, which is exciting, is under the best for CAS thing, but also lots of stuff happening in the best for write-up space. So XIP, Xero Inventory Plus, we've built in the US a really built from scratch on clean code, beautiful inventory product for businesses that either are hybrid of retail and e-commerce or are selling on some of the e-commerce platforms. And so that's really managing a lot of the complexities of small businesses that are looking to sell on those marketplaces. We've come at it from a real accounting first standpoint as well to make sure all the accounting transactions work. There's lots of solutions in this place that do a great job at inventory, but messy integrations into the accounting, which often create a lot of work for partners. So we've spent a lot of time getting that right. So that's out as well. We've got lots of partners jumping in and trying that for the first time. Couldn't be in January chatting to you and not talk about the improvements we've made to 1099. So we've had 1099 functionality in there for our partners for a while. We've launched some really exciting updates right in time for this season, which is often collecting the forms from things like the contractors you've used is a really tedious manual process. So you get to the end of the year and you don't have all those things. So we've actually built the ability throughout the year you can send an automated link to a client and they can fill out all their information on that, and then it automatically uploads that back into Xero once they click submit, and then you get a running roster of where you've collected it, where you haven't, and you can send out reminders. So we're trying to make it really automated and easier. And again, under the CAS space, a lot of our partners are helping manage that for their clients as well. And then bank feeds. So we were excited. We've launched a whole lot of new direct feeds. So we're excited to have those come in. We've launched an alternative aggregator. So Xero's approach to bank feeds is sort of multi-faceted. As we know, there's thousands and thousands of banks in the US. Some of them have the technology to do it. Some use other platform players. Some don't have the technology. So how we solve bank feed or getting bank data into Xero, which is really the key to fast accounting software and the insights that you get out of cloud software. So we continue to build out direct feeds. We put an alternative aggregator in. We're excited to announce a partnership with Flinks because in reality, all the aggregators have differing levels of strengths with certain banks. So having two aggregators really allows us to increase coverage. And then we're also seeing the aggregators are getting a lot more direct feeds from their banking partnerships. So I think on the other side of the holiday break, we launched another additional 150 direct feeds coming, which is basically an electronic connection of getting the feed data into Xero. There's still many banks where the accounting software vendors have to use screen scraping. So the faster we can get more banks across from that. So we have good coverage across the top 10, more and more coverage coming as we get into the sort of bigger regional banks and that longer tail of community banks. And the last point on bank data is bank statement extraction. So sort of we acquired HubDoc a while ago, and part of the functionality that we built into that tool is the ability to extract data from a bank statement where there may not be a feed. So a couple of use cases we see there. One, it may be a bank that doesn't give any accounting vendor a bank data, so you're actually able to upload a statement and have the system learn, and we're using a lot of AI and how that is powered. We have certain bank statements we've gone and taught the system. I think we have over 44 banks now in the US, and we're rapidly expanding that. You can actually upload any bank, and the system will have a go at extracting it, and will tell you if all the data is correct and matches. So that's another solution for partners that find banks where it's harder to get data in. So we're seeing great uptake of that in the US. And also, if you're doing a conversion client, so a lot of accountants maybe bringing a client a year's worth of transactions across, and it's hard to get a year's worth of bank statements. So if you can get the year's worth of bank statements and PDF or electronic, then you can get them into the system nice and quickly. So that's some of the recent product updates. They're probably the highlight ones. There's many, as you know, as a SaaS company, there's many other lots of little quick fixes and little releases that have come out, but they're the sort of big highlight ticket items.
Doesn't sound like you've been very busy. So you've been kind of sitting around twiddling your thumbs, really.
Yeah,
so,
I've been super excited.
Yeah. So the aggregators, tell me a little bit more about that. So is that a third party?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or so two third parties in this case.
Yeah.
And so you guys just partner up with them because they've already built the links and the access into this group of banks or credit unions. Is that how that works?
Yeah, so many of the softwares that are out there, whether it be personal finance apps or accounting software apps, will all use, a lot of them will have their own direct relationships, but most of them will also use aggregators who are specialists in creating connections with banks and being able to pass that data in a standard way through into the vendors that get approved and partner with them, like us. It's open banking is a big conversation. It's starting to happen at the federal level, and we've seen it happen in other markets that we operate in. We're still a long way off. The Biden administration did create an executive order not that long ago on it, but what that is and what's exciting. I think we're way off that actually coming to fruition. But we've seen, particularly in our UK market, open banking changes the game, because what it does is it creates a common sort of data standards and regulations around what is the customer's data and how that customer data should be shared from tools that they're using and how they want that shared. And it also creates a standard way that if you want to be a vendor that receives that data, the certification that you go through. So once you've got that certification, then those institutions have to, create a way for the data to come through. So that's really accelerated, the connection between banking data and all sorts of fintech apps and some of the Commonwealth markets that we've seen. So we're still a way off that here, but we're seeing really good progress. I mean, we work a lot directly with a lot of banks to partner and get that data in. The aggregators are doing that as well. So again, the benefit of the aggregators is that's their specialty focus. And we're seeing the challenge at the start with a lot of the aggregators was a lot of their data came from screen scraping and credential sharing, which I know a lot of ABs are across. And screen scraping is great, but it's never going to be as accurate as a direct data feed. And so we're seeing the aggregators now create partnerships with all the banks and a lot of the platform players that support the technology of the banks. They're getting those direct feeds, which helps us. So having two just gives us more options and greater scale.
Yeah, and you only have to deal with two versus 800 different banks or even the bank software providers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you haven't been busy there. How about people wise? Anybody else new in your world that or in the Xero community?
I know it's not that long ago we spoke, but it feels like a long time ago. I think probably that we've had some really exciting changes. Xero's been around for a long time now. I think we're about 17 years old. Our CEO Sukhinder, who's joined, based out of the Bay Area. So we have Chief Revenue Officer, CEO, and new Chief Product Officer. And what's really exciting for us here in the US is those roles are based out in Silicon Valley and in the Bay Area, which is great for Xero, because San Francisco is it's actually a pretty strategic location for us, because it's one flight to every market that Xero operates in, and sort of in the middle of our global footprint. But for us here in the US, starting to see the build out of US executive talent, and the next phase of our business is super exciting. So having some of that talent join us. Sukhinder came from she was a founder of Yodlee, which is one of the big aggregators that gets bank data in. She had many executive roles at Google. She's founded many startups herself. So really exciting to see new talent joining the business, because Xero's been around for 17 years, but there's so much exciting growth still ahead of us.
Actually, would have thought it was around longer than 17 years. I would have I would have guessed 35, but but you said 12 in the US?
Yeah, it's about 12. I might be off by a year, but it's around 12. But I've been up here for 7 of that. So
okay,
the accent's still holding strong.
Still holding strong. Do you have to go back every now and then to refresh it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's the problem. Yeah.
Right. So, all right. So, XeroCon. I did see you posted something recently on probably on LinkedIn, as I think is where I saw it. Looks like the doors are open and time to sign up and start booking and reserving. Is that right?
That's right. XeroCon Nashville is live. And if you've ever been to a XeroCon Nashville, we try to make them very different. Yes, they're a great accounting conference. Yes, you're going to learn a lot about the profession. Yes, there's CPE, but we try and make them fun. I remember a journalist once referring to it as the Coachella of accountants. I know you were down at New Orleans, so
Yep.
we try to do the serious stuff, but have a lot of fun. It's about the whole cloud accounting community and the technology community around that coming together. Lots of sharing. The power is actually in the people you meet, the other partners you meet. What excites me as well about this one is we've sort of shifted up how we do XeroCons. We used to sort of do them in every country we operated in every year. And we're moving it sort of like a rotating schedule now. And so what's kind of magic, and we've been open for a little bit, we're already seeing lots of ticket purchases coming from the Northern Hemisphere, the UK, from Australia, from New Zealand. And so by moving it into sort of a rotating schedule, we're seeing a lot more partners wanting to travel and experience the world. What I think is exciting about that is, the cloud accounting journey is at different stages all over the world. There's different pros and cons in every market, and bringing, the top cloud accountants that are coming together from around the world to share and learn from each other. So I think we're going to see much more of a global presence than we ever have, which is, not usually common at the big accounting events. So lots of partners coming in from overseas, lots of partners coming in from around the States, and partners of all shapes and sizes. So you have partners that have been on the cloud journey for well over a decade. You've got partners that are just starting, partners that are at the vanguard of change, partners that are considering it. And so it's just and of all sizes, from T100 firms down to the sole traders, and it's just such a great chance to come together with the profession, and you get CPE too, which is always helpful.
Right. Yeah. I think this is a fair statement. I believe I've been to every XeroCon US, including the first one that was kind of cobbled together in San Francisco. I say cobbled together, that it was less of a trade show and much more of a small conference. And it was, I don't know if it was actually in the Xero office or if it was down the street from the Xero office.
I think it was a building down the street. It's funny. I remember we had a road show. It just shows you the journey that you're on. We had a road show in San Francisco a couple of years ago, in the same venue where that XeroCon was, with more people at it. So so it's definitely grown a lot.
Yeah, and the best one actually was in your hometown. Now was in Denver. That one was a phenomenal show.
It was the year before I moved up here, and I heard from so many of our partners tell me about the after party, and we had a thunderstorm and rain, and everyone ended up dancing outside in the rain.
Yeah, so, it was great. Yeah. It was what was so good about it to me from the outside looking in. I mean, I no skin in the game one way or the other. It was a different group of people than we typically saw at the other conferences that we go to. Also a unique set of vendors on the floor. And that is one thing certainly that Xero has done, is you've certainly brought vendors into the US who really did not have much of a footprint, or maybe they didn't even have an interest here until Xero got here. But it was super lively, and they always have been. I mean, they've all been that way, and I can't imagine that Nashville would be any less. So
no, I think
if you are listening, get out there and register, because it's a
biggest ever. Yeah, no, and we pride ourselves on one of our big strengths has been our open platform approach and our ecosystem, and all the apps, whether they be industry specific or for accountants, that are built on top around Xero, because they're really part of the whole Xero story. And it's important. When you go to XeroCon, you see the big players will be there. You'll see the big names and the big brands, but we also have really easy entry packages for startups in the ecosystem place, because for us it's really important they come, because a lot of the players now that are big and scaled in the ecosystem started off small at one point, coming to a XeroCon. So we try to make sure it's accessible for those, because there's so much exciting new technology that's developing in the ecosystem for the accountant, bookkeeper, and small business space. And so XeroCon is just a great place for them to come and get started.
Yep. And do you know what the cost is on that?
I don't have the exact cost of mine. I'll make sure we send you to put in the details there. But we've launched the tickets. Right now, the tickets are on sale with a $150 off special. Okay. So the sort of the launch special is if you get in the next couple of weeks, you get $150 off the ticket price. And there's accommodation options available. So I'll make sure we flick you for the listeners a link to the site where they can go and find out more about the event and see the launch special.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. All right, so this is a two-part question, and we'll finish up on this one. Not sure how long this part will go. So it's part one is, and the reason I say it's two-part because there's the question, and then I'm going to ask you to give me the answer, kind of a popular features, which will be kind of the reason for the answer for number one, if that makes any sense at all. But if it doesn't, here we go. So why should accounting pros be looking at Xero? And I think the answer is in some of the popular features. So
so I'll hold the features to the second part of the question. I'll try and give I've been with Xero for 11 years, and I've seen firms move. I've seen firms that have been very sort of reluctant to take a look at new things or move to then becoming absolute experts. So I'll try and share the things I hear from our partners around why they want to move. The first thing I'd say is there are still many practices out there that haven't started. CAS is still growing. It's still early. For many practices, it's been around for a while. For much of the market, it's still new. And small business need it more than ever. So we need to be able to scale our CAS services to small business. So there's a huge opportunity there, and many firms are on that journey. But many firms are still running heavy on desktop. It's the US is still one of the lagging markets compared to our Commonwealth markets. When you look at the overall small business GL of what percentage has actually moved across. And so what I say to firms is, as you're looking, everyone is now looking at desktops slowly coming to an end. We need to go to the cloud, regardless of us or whoever it is. I think it's really important that it's an exciting, it's a challenging change, and it's a point where don't just think, if I'm on this vendor, then going to their cloud version will be easy, because everyone's cloud versions are very different to their desktop experiences. Xero was born in the cloud, so we started at the sort of early days of cloud and have only ever been in the cloud. So I encourage firms to it's a really good chance to step back and actually look at what's out there. Go look at what cloud vendors are out there. Go talk to the peers in the profession that you work with that use those different software platforms that are in the cloud, so you can really understand the landscape, because it's a big decision, and it's you want to make sure you're backing the right horse. And so it's a great, don't take the easy route, because you really want to understand what the landscape is, because it's dramatically moved. Even Xero in the last 5 years in the US, I talked to a lot of partners that looked at us 5 years ago. We are light years different, and a very serious, credible player in the US market now. So take a look at the landscape. And I think I'd say with us is Xero. You heard me say before, we put the accountants and bookkeepers front and center. Like we believe in the power advisor. We hear about technology is going to automate the profession, technology is going to automate all this stuff, and we need to stop seeing that as a one or the other. Technology helps us use humans in a smarter way. Technology should help us use humans in a more fun and engaging way. And the reality is we don't have enough talent and people in the profession even to keep up with the compliance volume we have now. So if we're going to get on and grow a bigger CAS market, which can do more work for small business, then we need to embrace technology. We take that really seriously. We take the role AB's take, and what you'll hear, what our partners will tell us is that we show up. We realize it's a big change management exercise. We realize often it means changing processes that have been bedded in for decades. And so we want to get alongside you. We want to understand your firm's strategy. We want to coach you. We want to connect you to other ABs that have done it. We want to share with you the good, bad, and ugly. We want to be realistic with you on what is your focus and where we're going to be really good and where we may not be the best solution. So we're great in lots of places, but like any software, you can't be great for everyone. So we want to help. We take it really seriously around making sure we're helping you where it's going to help you achieve the strategy you want as a firm. So partners tell us we show up, we're in their offices, and we work with many firms over a multi-year strategy as they go to the cloud, they embrace more technology, they build out CAS services, and then we help educate them on how to think about the next wave of technology coming down. And the other reason I'd say is, like, we're now a credible established player in the US market. So there are lots of firms across the T100 that are using Xero as their preferred CAS platform. I just came from meeting with our great partners down in Alabama. I had to drive down to Enterprise, Alabama, to the headquarters of Car Riggs Ingram, and I know they don't mind me sharing this, but they've been partners with us for nearly 7 to 8 years as they've gone on their CAS journey, building out their CAS strategy, working with us as we've built out the product for the US market. So, Xero has some very credible large players using us, and we have lots of small firms as well that are using us and disrupting using the platform. So, we see ourselves as a true partner, not a vendor. We're very genuine and passionate about the role and power that the profession plays around the technology. And as I said, we think that what we can provide with the ecosystem is super powerful, but they need the help. A small business needs the help to navigate that. But what's exciting is when you get them on those tools, small business now have access to advisory from partners that before could only be given to big clients, and technology tools that before were only available to big businesses. And what's exciting about that is small business is the engine of the economy. It employs most of the people. And if you can get those things in control and you can get small businesses with the right advice around them, you're going to unlock their confidence to grow. And so, that's where you think about the macro impact of what this whole ecosystem can do, is growing small business at scale.
So is there kind of the process? I mean, obviously, if I have 50 clients, I wouldn't think I would go in and throw all 50 clients on a whole new platform I've never had exposure to. Is part of that you showing up? Is that prior to me even onboarding clients? I mean, is that part of I'll call it a sales process, although I think sales and accounting is a dirty word, but I mean,
I'm a chartered
teams
accountant. We do. I mean, we hire a lot of CPAs internally. We have a lot of our people that manage the relationships with our accountants and bookkeepers are from the profession or from a firm that's done the journey. We do a lot of work with our ambassadors, which are Xero partners that have done it and want to share their experience and knowledge of other partners. So we know it's probably a bad analogy, but you never want to get married on the first date. And so we'll show up. We want to get to know you as a firm. We want to help you understand Xero. But at some point, when it comes to learning to ride a bike, you can read the books as much as you want, but you almost need to jump on the bike and have a ride across the lawn and crash into the fence the first time. But so we support, we encourage partners to do pilots or proof of concepts. We get right alongside them. We will help you identify a chunk of clients. We encourage partners to let's start on clients you do the work for, so you don't have to expose your clients, so you can learn Xero, because as a professional, you want to make sure you know the tool and who it's going to work for. So those pilots all designed around creating internal knowledge and testing it internally. We'll support you through there. Generally, once those firms have done that, we'll then start to see them promoting and adding clients to Xero. Then we see firms move different chunks of clients. We see firms go, hey, my Schedule C book is really messy. I want to move them all onto the cash book so we get a bank feed in that Schedule C report. I've got a whole lot of internal bookkeeping clients I want to move. And so we encourage partners to break it down into a journey. And as I said, sometimes firms do it really quickly. Sometimes firms, we're doing it on multiple years. We have people that show up and train. We have what we call our partner consultants, which is where a lot of those ex-CPAs and bookkeepers are, that will go in and help meet the teams, help identify the right clients. We help with conversion. As you know, converting, don't let anyone tell you that converting accounting software is automated or easy, because that's overselling. Like there's many elements to converting, but we try to make the conversion process as seamless as possible. And often we know what we're converting off. If it's a client file, can be quite messy. So there's cleaning that data, there's bringing it into Xero, making sure you're setting it up right. So we do have tools that will pull the data out of one and push it into the other. We help with processes around making sure we don't just pull all the rubbish and pump the rubbish into the other. And then we have partners all over in the US and outsource over the world that will help do outsource conversions as well. So we want to help our partners get onto a chunk of clients and see how it can actually work. And then I always call about it's the infinity wheel between compliance and advisory. And too often do we think of CAS and compliance as separate. The reality is it's integrated advisory today, which is if we're doing bookkeeping as step one of CAS for our clients throughout the year, that means we have a really clean set of books and a very sticky client to make a much more efficient tax return. So you're going to help your tax business. Often your tax business is small businesses, that's going to feed your CAS business. So you got to think about them together. But ultimately, what we see when firms do this is they get connected to the client like they haven't been before. They start to do a lot of the compliance in less time. So they're able to, it's much cleaner. They're doing things on the go. There's more automation. So with that capacity and that connection to the client, that's what really draws them into giving the next level of services around, whether it be advisory around growth or starting to meet with them more regularly and help them with business planning.
Yeah, and use that freed up time to do those things or search.
Yeah, well,
to
your point, we have a lot of partners
right?
that use the free time to spend more time with the family and go to the lake house, which is also a great thing as well. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. So before we get into the 5 most popular features and then wrap up, actually one more question backing up to one thing we discussed kind of before we went live, and that is, and you even said it a minute ago, there's not a one size fits all, right? In any solution out there, I don't believe. So what's the sweet spot for Xero?
Yes, I mean, on the accounting and bookkeeper side, we have a range. We have a lot of the T100 firms that operate, that have lots of offices all over the country, and we have a team that's specialists at supporting them, and then we have teams that show up locally to support them, right down to mid-sized practices and sole trader practice. So on the AB side, we really support a broad range. Down on the small business product, we have the write-up tools, which really support any type of client for end-of-year work. The core, what we call business edition products, that is the bookkeeping solution. We have our early SKU, which is great for new businesses that are forming that really want to get on the right accounting software from day one that they can scale with. And that starts at $15. And so we see a lot of startups and sole traders starting on that product. Our most popular product is the growing product. And really that product is aimed at, and this is really where Xero's sweet spot is, between 1 and 20 employees, but we have many clients up to 100. So employees up to 100 generally can work well on Xero. And so we see a broad range, but they're our big focuses.
Okay. All right. So let's dive in. 5 most popular features. You can go 6 if you want, but or 4. Yeah. Your call. But what are you seeing as when people are new to Xero or have relatively new exposure to Xero? What is it that makes them go, "Oh wow, I've been looking for that," or kind of what are those features?
Yeah. So I'm going to come at this from what our accountants and bookkeepers. I know your audience is accountants and bookkeepers, so I'm going to talk about the things that accountants and bookkeepers, small business, get excited about some different things, but we can cover that maybe in a later catch up. So when we're talking to accountants and bookkeepers, the first one, and this one's funny because this feature was actually in Xero the day it was pretty much in the first wave of its launch, which is cash coding. So like later on, I'll get into one of the AI examples, but even with all the AI and all the fancy stuff we've launched, cash coding is still the number one thing that if you're sitting with a new accountant and you're giving them a big overview of the product, when you show them cash coding, the light bulb really goes off on their head. So what that is, obviously when the small business is using Xero, there's a bank feed that says, hey, there's a transaction here. Xero's automatically magically match that to an invoice you sent. You click OK and it codes, and then Xero starts to suggest, using AI, it's suggesting where you can code things, and so you click OK, and that's how the small business. It's like a Tetris style screen that makes small businesses methodically work through and keep their transactions coded and up to date, and the system's automatically doing most of that. But cash coding is a feature we launched for accountants, which is you can switch the view into cash coding, and it brings all of the transactions into like a grid-like format. And it allows you to code. Let's say you've got your clients got 4 months of transactions that they haven't coded, which can normally be an enormous task. Immediately, you can see sort by where are their bank rules, and that might take half those 200 transactions. Quickly scan, that's okay. Save and reconcile, they disappear. You can click sort by payee, and let's say there's a whole lot of central city parking, little minuscule transactions that it'll 30 of those will come into the grid. You type in, I'm just going to put it to general expenses, bad accountant. You type in GE, hit go, and it's going to bulk code that to general expenses.
Okay.
So you can sort by amount. And so that one, I'm sounding a bit like it sounds like boring old coding, but we have firms that tell us they'll have a client that'll send them 12 months worth of stuff and they can work through that in hours, not days.
Wow.
Because you can
Okay.
just code, the sorting functionality, the bulk coding that comes in cache coding. So that still is one of the oldest, but the most loved feature that's out there. But as you know, like you can't get to looking at what is the data telling you, what are the insights until you get it all categorized, and cache coding is the machine that makes that happen super quick. The next one's find and recode. And I can remember when we launched this at XeroCon in Melbourne, Australia, probably 8 years ago. And Roger got up on stage and he talked about we were using some AI that was going to help code invoicing, put an invoice line item code by the description you were typing. And back then AI was early, the audience was sort of murmuring. Rod thought that was going to be the big aha moment. We then launched Find and Recode. And again, it goes back to, as accountants and bookkeepers, there are often really painful things in every client that can equal an extra 10 or 20 minutes on every job. What Find and Recode does is, I use the analogy, it allows you to a whole lot of filters to filter the general ledger transactions, and then a really fast and easy way to reclassify or recode those and do all the changes in the background. The analogy I use is, let's say you have a client that both the husband and wife do coding. The wife is very diligent with her coding. The husband is super loose and every year codes everything to suspense and general expenses. I can go into Find and Recode when I'm doing my end of year work, show me all the transactions entered by Ben, the husband, show me from this date range to this date range, and I know he dumps everything into general and suspense, and it will bring those transactions up. Again, I can bulk sort and then bulk recode them. So it makes that end of year tidy up or finding errors really fast. There was a standing ovation of about 4,000 people in XeroCon Melbourne when we launched that. And same here in the US. It's just cleaning up bad coding is something when we're working with the client as an everyday pain, and that made it really simple.
Wow.
Third one, and you see the top three are still, it's all about getting the data in, the uncoded statement lines report. So again, accountants are working with clients of varying levels of technological capability. And so often you might get, you're coding the job, or it might be a CAS client that you're doing the coding for. Xero allows you, if there's a couple of transactions you can't code, you can invite the client in read only and have a discuss only feature. So you can email them and say, hey, there's 4 items I couldn't code. Just go on there. And in the discuss feature, put the comment of where I should code it. But if your client isn't savvy with going into the software, the uncoded statement lines basically produces a report that you can send to them. They can fill it out, comes back to you, and you can bring that into Xero. So again, a lot of streamlining on the and then the fourth one's reporting. We built so Xero has a lot of reporting in the end user software. We made it really customizable in a web browser experience. So you can drag, drop columns, add a gross profit margin formula if you want. You can take out templates and create your own templates at the client level. You can change the terminology. You can customize them for that particular client, or the client can. But we also build that at the firm-wide level. So because of our report codes, one of the big things is we allowed for firms to build financial reporting templates, whether it be financial statements or management reports. They can build a whole lot of templates. They can customize them to their heart's delight. And then those templates sit at your firm level in what you call your Xero HQ. When you're down in the client file working in the part they can't see, you can pull the relevant firm-wide template down. So what that means is I could build, if I look after real estate clients, let's say I have a quarterly management report for my real estate clients, I can build one template, drop that down across 100 clients really quickly. And because of the report code mapping, even if they've all got different charts of accounts, that's all going to be really efficiently done. And so I can both customize at the firm level to create templates. I can also then pull that down and customize that at the client level if there's some quirky client customization we can do. So reporting is a massive silver bullet with our clients, and they love it. And we've done a lot of work for US reporting in the last couple of years. So making sure that all the right US reports in there, all the right language and whatsoever.
And
last one I'm going to give you.
Sorry, are you crowdsourcing any of that as far as our users going, hey, this is a great report that I use? Can they push it back into Xero and other people use it?
Yeah, so we have multiple formats for how we get. So we have what we call our Xero Partner Advisory Council. So whenever we're doing changes to reporting, they'll be heavily involved. We have our ambassador network that will be heavily involved, and then we have all our different product forums where you can go through Xero Central, our help center. You can ask for products through your account management. You're able to go and say, "Hey, I'd love to have this," and then we have mechanisms for funneling that in. So
Okay.
a lot of the reports we're developing are coming from customers' feedback, and then we'll build them as templates if there's an ask for that. But also, the customization means a lot of firms have very unique needs, and so they're able to build for their own unique needs, their own templates as well, and roll it across their client base. And then quickly, the last one, and this is another piece of AI that we're running through the platform. And obviously, AI is a massive focus for us, and there's lots of different parts of AI already in Xero's platform, across HubDoc, across the bank coding, but Analytics Plus and our analytics tool that's in the software. So this is really trying to help small businesses get better at thinking ahead. Where's my cash flow going to be? And make those cash flow decisions ahead of time. So the AI is basically creating predictions, looking at historic transactions to create future transactions. You can review those predictions and change them. You can add new ones. So you're able to use it for scenario planning as well. And that's going to give you that sort of view out to 30, 60, 90 days, out to 3 months. And it's going to give you those scenarios which allow you to sort of think about, okay, it starts to give you suggestions and levers that you can pull, right? So you can see, hey, in 2 months' time, I'm looking like I'm going to be in the red. Do I need to get ahead and start thinking about financing, or do I need to chase a debtor that's been outstanding? So that's been a really powerful tool. And then with that data, we're also giving people what we call our business snapshot, which is within Analytics Plus, and that's giving you sort of a customizable financial snapshot of the financial health of the business. So it's sort of making it easy to quickly understand your position through graphs and trends, and a bit more visual for how the small business thinks about things. So the top five, I could go on probably for another 10 or 20 features, but I see from the, it's amazing how, there's lots of AI there. There's lots of exciting, innovative stuff in there. How we chase invoices for customers. Payments is really, getting paid faster and using payment gateways that the client can choose, like a great partnership with Stripe and others. But it still always goes back to, Ben, we love cash coding. Cash coding is still, things like cash coding and find and recode, because pretty much without doubt in every job you do as an accountant, there's 10, 20, 30-minute savings. And on the big ones with cash coding, you're talking hours savings and time.
Time is money, truly, in this space. Time is certainly money. So how do people get info on XeroCon, just as we wrap up?
Yeah,
Is it
so
just,
I'm just
is
so
it
check out.
XeroCon?
I'm just gonna live on the so check out xero.com. Obviously it's xero.com. And on the website you'll be able to find a link to it, or if you want to talk to your account manager, if you're working with one of our account managers, they can help you out. And I'm just gonna see if I can give you the exact URL, so you've got that. Here we are. So if you go to xero.com and then go to events, and you'll find XeroCon. So it's a pretty long one, so I'll send it to you so you can probably put it. It's xero.com/US/events/XeroCon/Nashville. But if you go to our main page, you'll find your way through events, and you'll see where you can find out information about the event and buy tickets. So that's August 14th and 15th. And the tickets are $399 as our retail price. But again, if you jump in now, there's a promo code for the first wave of people that sign up that gets you $150 off.
So really it gets like $240, $240.
That's right. Yeah, if you put that coupon code in. So
and again,
CPE as well. So it's
that's
a fun
deal.
place to go. Yeah, we have a great wrap party, so you'll have a lot of fun. You'll learn a lot. You get your CPE, and you'll be in a great part of the country.
Yeah, and if you're going back to face, which I think most people have finally gotten back into that face-to-face mindset, that sounds like a great $250 to spend to me.
Yeah.
Again, having been there to most of them, if not all of them, in the US. Great events. And then you mentioned if they're working with a partner, what if they're not working with a partner? How do they get connected with a partner?
Yeah, so if you go to our xero.com you'll see a link to this sort of a for advisors or for accountants and bookkeepers.
Yep.
Through there, you can either stick with your accountant or bookkeeper, and you can explore our partner program.
Okay.
And you can sign up there to become a partner. And becoming a Xero partner, there's no obligation to add customers. Becoming a Xero partner, you get through our terms of use, and then that will see one of our team reach out to you, explain the partner program, gets you a free version of Xero to use for your own firm, or potentially a charity that you support. A lot of firms use that free subscription for that. And then you'll be connected with one of our account management team that will support you. And in many cities in the US, they're in the same town as you. Otherwise, we have people that have different parts of the country that they support. So you'll meet your local team that will come and get to know you, learn about your practice, learn about your client needs, and then work out if you want how to do your first steps or test out Xero.
All right. And this one we didn't talk about beforehand, and we'll wrap up on this. Events that you'll be going to, obviously XeroCon. Where else? Where face to face will people be able to find and talk with some people from Xero?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's some great, as you know, the US accounting calendar is littered with awesome events. So
yeah,
Xero is always at Engage. We go to the digital CPA, so our teams are there. Scaling New Heights with the Woodard Group. We're a big sponsor there, so we'll be at Scaling New Heights as well. And there's a multitude of other smaller conferences. We're often at State Society events. And then depending on what city you're in, we often run local happy hours for Xero partners and other partners to come together. Generally after tax season, we run happy hours to help the accountants that have had a tough tax season celebrate that being done. So there's lots of different ways, lots of events we have in the local cities with our local teams. And then, we're generally at all the big accounting events on the calendar as well. So.
Great. All right. Well, that is it. We'll run into you at those accounting events, and certainly we'll see you at XeroCon. Like I said previously, if you're in Atlanta, give me a shout. And
sounds good. We need to catch up.
And I'll do the same thing if I'm out in Denver, although it's not on my list, but I'd love to get out there and go skiing. I need to get back out.
Plenty of snow and more coming this weekend, so it's a great season for skiing if you can fit it in.
Right. All right. Well, enjoy that. It was good catching up. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks, everyone.
This episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast is brought to you by Out of the Box Technology. Out of the Box Technology is your partner in accounting data services. With over 7,500 industry migrations performed and an expansive network of third-party integrations, a partnership with Out of the Box will augment your advisory practice and turbocharge client accounting operations. Visit outoftheboxtechnology.com/insightful-accountant to get started.